Hello. So looking at something a little bit different. The Moods compilation. Now, if you are British or American, you probably know this as Pure Moods. It's basically the same thing, but I don't know exactly what happened. I don't really care what happened either. But it seemed the original Pure Moods was released by Virgin Records, whereas this just Moods, which seems to be just the Australia, New Zealand release, is released by EMI. Don't know if they are the same group now, because so many of those record companies. Anyway, that's not really important. This kind of music is classed, I see on the record of genre, as new age, ambient, trip hop, down tempo, which I think are all fairly accurate descriptors. And this music had a kind of peak in the 90s. This was released, I believe, originally in 94. This particular one was in New Zealand, was released in 96, I think. Oh, yes, there it is. 1996, EMI Music, New Zealand. But it's basically the same song. So I've got 3 volumes: Moods, a contemporary soundtrack; Moods 2, a contemporary soundtrack; and Moods 3, a contemporary soundtrack. These were all 50 cents each. That one still has the price tag on. So I bought this about 3 years ago. God, has it been that long? That's pre-COVID. It was the 16th of January 2020, which would have been literally like a week after I got back, after living outside of New Zealand for about a decade. Anyway, all of the music that's between these 3 albums is basically the same as that's on the American UK releases, but they had a lot more releases. So there's the Pure Moods, instrumental moods, cinema moods, Gregorian moods, Celtic moods, instrumental moods again, Christmas moods, Jesus, Pure Moods 2, Scottish moods. Oh, they're really beating this horse, aren't they? Pure Moods 3, Pure Moods 4, Romantic Moods, Pure Moods Celestial Celebration. Oh, they called it a day in 2004. They stopped absolutely getting the blood from that stone after about 10 years of trying. But the music, it's across all of them, whether it's the American or the New Zealand releases. It's fairly similar and a fairly similar style, if it's not exactly the same track listing. And like I said, this kind of music built through the 80s, I've noticed, and a lot of what they used on the albums, it was written and when released in the 80s, but then kind of came to a crescendo of popularity in the mid to late 90s. And I collect a lot of that kind of new agey music, often just because I want to have it. I usually listen to it like once or twice, and then, but it's kind of like a sub collection I have within this collection. Just as an example, I've got something. Here's one: Gentle Island Surf, Nature's Magic, or let's see, The Soothing Sound of Nature in Music, Sounds of Paradise, or Medicine Woman, New World. That kind of stuff. What I've noticed collecting it is that there was a real glut of it in that period. From about 93 through to about 99, you still find it in the 2000s. They're still, just even to this day, but really there was a peak of it in that period, and that's when these Moods albums were released. So if we look, condition of these as you would expect. Fine, it might be a little bit of wear or tear around it, but nothing out of the ordinary. Getting this out is not that easy. So what do we got? We got Enya, Orinoco Flow, which is, everyone knows that song. Deep Forest. Now, I did a video about Deep Forest about a month ago, and I think it's got one view, so don't think many people watched it. But I talked about specifically about that song "Sweet Lullaby" and how it was culturally appropriated by Solomon Island people. But that's a good song. I like that song. Just going through the ones that I can kind of a lot of if I play it, I know all the songs, but just looking at the names, I don't always recognize. Ian Anderson is the singer, flautist of Jethro Tull. Michael Nyman, a famous composer, especially for movie soundtracks. Vanessa May, violinist. Enigma, now, of course, Enigma, perfect example of this kind of music. Enigma, who were pretty huge in that. I think it was 93 they came out, 92, 93, and released a few albums through the 90s. Ennio Morricone, Jan Hammer with Crockett's theme, which is, of course, from Miami Vice. That's a great song. That really encapsulates that kind of 80s version of this kind of music. So smooth, man. And that last one down there by Clannad, which was the band that Enya was originally in. Theme from Harry's Game. Harry's Game was a movie about the Troubles in Northern Ireland. About a guy from the IRA or something like that. I've never actually watched it. I've watched a few scenes on YouTube though. And the end credits of that, they play that song. And it's a pretty beautiful song. Very haunting. So that's Moods 1. You get the idea there with the kind of music. Then we go to Moods, so there's 3. Well, let's go to 2 first. And here we see on Moods 2, we see, again, Vanessa May. She's back. Pandana, back again. Yanni, of course. You can't have new age music without Yanni. His stuff is everywhere in secondhand stores in New Zealand. Yanni, you're guaranteed to find about 4 or 5 Yanni albums in every secondhand store you visit. Celestial, Angelo Badalamenti. Sorry if I don't pronounce that. That's from Twin Peaks. Fire Walk with Me. So it's not the main theme. Dun, dun. It's Fire Walk with Me, which is from. Was that from the movie? The movie of Twin Peaks, one with Chris Isaac in it. Then we got some kind of, it moves between New Age and also kind of touches a bit on the world music. There you can see Karikuima Iapu. I don't know if that's Spanish, if it's meant to be Iapu or Ilapu. Chico and the Gypsies. Whoop. Don't know if that would fly anymore, the Gypsies. Enigma again, of course, Mike Oldfield. Yeah, he kind of was a early proponent of this kind of music, wasn't he? When did Tubular Bells come out? I think that was the late 70s, maybe. Early 80s? I'm not sure. Siva Pacifica, Tommy Emmanuel, guitarist. Don't recognize the other ones, but you can see some of the names. Like track 15, Seaborg, Seymour. I think that's Celtic, isn't it? Irish language, so that would have been a bit of a Celtic feel to it. So it really mixes the new age keyboard synth music together with traditional world music elements, like maybe some instruments or some vocalizations here or there, together with the relaxing ambient feel, down tempo to help you relax maybe. And the trip hop, I don't know where that comes in. Sometimes they have kind of a more hip, trendy vibe that connected with the late 90s with a trip hop, maybe drum beat. That's Moods 2 and Moods 3. Let's see. Is it going to be the same artist again for we got Vangelis, of course. Now Vangelis, or Vangelis, I think it is, not Vangelis. I have a lot of Vangelis albums. I've got about 5 or 6 different things that he's done. I might have a look at those one day. But they use Chariots of Fire, which is actually one of his pieces that I don't like. But Vangelis is another early innovator of this kind of music. And a guy, some brilliant soundtrack work. The Blade Runner soundtrack. Fucking perfect. 10 out of 10, that soundtrack. One of my favorite soundtracks of all time. He died recently, Greek composer. Secret Garden, Kenny G Songbird. There we go. How could you have a Moods type compilation without that song? Kenny G Songbird. Kenny G's most famous piece. I'm probably not doing it very well, but Michelle Toombs doing a Stone Age. I've got a Stone Age CD here somewhere as well. Yanni again, Yanni back again. Craig Armstrong, Nikos Gregoriadis. The Cause, don't know about that. Oh, but it's a instrumental cause. Okay, so that's another thing with this kind of music. You have to take it easy on the vocals. If you're going to have vocals, they have to be probably, if best, in another language, not in English. Got to be maybe in some kind of ancient Latin Gregorian chant type, or some kind of indigenous Pacific Island language or Asian type language. That's what really seems to do the best. Ryuichi Sakamoto, Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. Amazing song, without just by itself. I love that song so much. That one. He's not well at the moment, Ryuichi Sakamoto. He got throat cancer about a decade ago, and he beat it. He went into remission, but there's come back even worse the last time I checked. So he's helping. He's hoping he's doing well, because he's a brilliant composer. And again with Vangelis, one of the best soundtrack composers of our time. Where do we get to? Mochiba got one of their albums somewhere around as well. Fleetwood Mac Albatross. I don't know about that. That does not fit. You got a Hans Zimmer thing in there. So you see, it's a lot of movie soundtracks as well, because often the movie soundtracks do fit in with this style of music. So yeah, I think it's a good encapsulation of that kind of music. If you like that kind of music, you can't go wrong with the Moods compilations. Pure Moods if you're not in the Australasia region. I've also seen very similar ones called Emotions. And again, Emotions 1, Emotions 2. It's basically the same songs. So I don't know who they're going to sell that to. But yeah, if I'm being honest, some great songs on there, man. A lot of dross as well, but it's the kind of thing. It does what it says it's going to do on the tin. You put it on, good for background music, but good just kind of to sit down and relax to, maybe when you're reading a book, to get those feels, those vibes. I'm not trying to be ironic here. I think there really is some good songs on there. So that's what happens, is that often you initially listen to things you think in an ironic way, but then actually you realize you dislike it. You like it. You don't like it ironically. You actually like it. And that's how I felt with a lot of that new age music. A lot of new age music is cheesy as hell, and some of it is unlistenable, but some of it is legitimately good. Anyway, like I said, you can't go wrong with the Moods, Pure Moods compilations. They really gather up all the best of that kind of music and put it in one place. Thank you for watching.